Hey, Councillor Ferguson, I think we'll get underway. Are you good? You good? Okay. So with that, I think we'll call the regular meeting of Township Council for the purpose of public hearing to order for Monday, September 11th. Of course, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the meeting takes place on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, and in particular, acknowledge our unique and valued relationships with the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. So with that, can you read the preamble?
A public hearing is a statutory requirement under Section 464 of the Local Government Act and must be held before third reading of a community plan, land use contract amendment bylaw, heritage designation bylaw, or heritage revitalization agreement bylaw. During a public hearing, council acts in a quasi-judicial role for the purpose of allowing persons who believe their interest in property is affected by a bylaw, permit, or other matter to make representations to council either orally, by written submission, or to add comments to or elaborate upon correspondence that may have already been presented to council concerning the bylaws. It is important to note that council is not able to receive any additional information on the bylaws following the public hearing as dictated by case law. The hearing procedure involves an explanation from the Community Development Division on the purpose of the proposed bylaws and to hear from individuals regarding the bylaws. In order to ensure that all interested parties have a reasonable opportunity to be heard, speakers are requested to keep representations as brief and succinct as possible and no longer than 5 minutes in duration, excluding the time required for questions from council. Speakers will be asked to state their name, neighborhood, and city for the record. And if referring to prepared remarks, to submit copies of these to the township clerk. Decorum must be always maintained. This includes refraining from applause, booing, or heckling. To assist with large numbers of speakers, individuals must advise the township clerk and sign the speakers list prior to the commencement of the public hearing. The names on the speakers list will be read out during the hearing. Individuals who have already addressed council and wish to add further submissions will wait until the people that have not yet addressed council have had an opportunity to speak. All submissions and speaker lists are considered part of the public record. Council members should not express their views nor debate the bylaws. However, they may question speakers to clarify particular points in their submissions. Council may consider third reading or third reading and final adoption at this meeting or at its next regular meeting. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by Councillor Van Popta, seconded by Councillor Rint. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call a question on A1. Carries unanimously. Item B1, Mr. Jarvie.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. Item 1 on the agenda tonight pertains to 3 properties totaling 1.5 hectares, 3.6 acres of land located at 7007, 7021, and 7033204 Street. The properties are currently designated multifamily and neighborhood commercial in the Willoughby Community Plan. Low-density apartment 1.4 FSR and low-density mixed-use 1.4 FSR in the Central Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan. Currently zoned suburban residential zone SR2 with properties to the west zoned CD 148 and 159, and lands to the south and east currently also zoned SR2. Bylaw 5917 will amend the Central Gordon Estate Neighborhood Plan to redesignate the site medium-density apartment 1.5 to 2.5 FSR and increase the allowable commercial floor area, while Bylaw 5918 will zone the site Comprehensive Development Zone CD 189. The proposal includes approximately 386 units in 4 6-story buildings with commercial retail units at grade. On the screen now is the proposed site plan, as well as some associated building renderings.
Great. Is there any speakers on the speakers list?
No.
There are no speakers on the speakers list. Okay. So with that, I'll make some calls for submissions from the public. For first time, are there any submissions from the public on items B1? For a second time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? And for a third time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing on B1. I do not see the proponent present. Unless the proponent is present, I don't think the proponent is present. So there'll be no submissions from the proponent. Close the public hearing on item B1. Does anybody wish to move consideration of third reading? Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Van Popta. Call the question on considering third reading for B1. That carries with Councillor Richter opposed. Does anybody wish to move the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Pratt. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Ferguson. Is there any discussion on B1? Seeing none, I'll call the question on B1. That carries unanimously. So with that, I get a motion to terminate. Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Ritt. All those in favor? Opposed? And carried. Thank you.